It just became a conversation about how many different ways there are to be of Latin descent. Do you speak the language? Does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Do you eat the food? Does it matter? Where do you come from? And how do you feel about who you are? And are you comfortable in your identity? And why or why not? And being able to come to work every day surrounded by people who either had shared experiences or differing experiences was such a beautiful thing. And it just was just this rainbow mixed bag of people from different walks of life. And it made it such a positive experience to bring that story to its feet.
I really hate when people gatekeep amongst their communities, and this doesn't just happen in nerd fandom. By the way, I hate even saying the word nerd anymore. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been kind of exhausted from the nerd community for the last few months, maybe because my life's been changing the last couple of months, and I've realized that nerd stuff doesn't really matter as much as a lot of fucking four-eyed freaks want to make it sound like. But sorry about that. But anyways, I saw this tweet, and it's coming from some girl named Maria. She says, I think that a lot of Latinos are in the right to be pissed at her to be screaming, I'm a Latina, and come out saying this stupidity. Now, I played the clip at the beginning of the video. It is a video of Rachel ZEGLER, who is a Latina actress. I'm not exactly sure where she's from. Didn't do much research. Don't care. That's not what the conversation is going to be about. But she is obviously known because she was in that one Spielberg movie. I cannot remember for the life of me the name of that movie. West Side Story. Yeah, I really liked the movie. Not a big musical guy. Watched the movie. I ended up really enjoying it. And then she was in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I really enjoyed that film. And she's going to be in the new Hunger Games movie. So she is kind of popping on right now. Obviously not in a Jenna Ortega level, but she is kind of like, her name's starting to get more out there. And in this video, like I put in the beginning, she's just kind of saying, it doesn't matter if you speak the language or eat the foods, you're still Latino. She is correct about that. That is true. If you're Latino, if you have land descent, whether you're from Central America, South America, or Mexico, or whatever, you are a Latino or Latina, and be proud of it. I believe in that. I also believe people should be proud of whatever race or nationality they're from. If you're white, cool, be proud. If you're black, be proud. If you're Asian, be proud. If you're North Korean, actually probably not that. But if you're like to me, it's always been be proud of who you are and accept yourself as a person. And I think that's great about life. We're all diverse. We all have different cultures. We all have different languages. And I think that's cool about humanity. But one thing I don't like is when people say you're not this enough. Now, me personally, I'm going to tell you my background. I am half Mexican, half Salvadorian. I come from a very Hispanic household. My first language was Spanish. In fact, up until probably 4th, 3rd grade, my main language was Spanish until eventually I started. Obviously, I'm in America. I live in Houston. More people speak English here. So I ended up speaking English. And by the way, I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born here, but my parents are both immigrants. I was raised around a lot of immigrants, my uncles, my aunts, whatever. Even the people I went to school with, a lot of the school I went to was heavily Latino based. For my junior high and my high school, the highest population in each of those schools was Hispanics. I live around Houston. I don't think it's much of a surprise. And even outside here, like if you could over here in Houston, honestly, if you don't have Latino friends, you might just be purposely avoiding us, honestly, because it's almost impossible to go around here without Latinos. And so I'm very in tune with my culture. I don't speak perfect Spanish, but I speak it enough where if I was having a conversation with you, I'd completely understand what you're saying and you'd be able to completely understand what I say. Sometimes it gets word mixed up. It happens with both English and Spanish. That's me. The food base, I will say I'm not the biggest Mexican food guy. I do love spiciness. Not the biggest spicy. Like one thing that a lot of my white friends find me weird is I like to put jalapenos in my hot dogs and sandwiches. Like I'll literally ask for shitloads of jalapeno or put in some salsa. But like elote, corn with mayo, like that's a pretty Mexican thing. I don't like that. Tacos, I'm not going to lie to you. Tortillas are kind of overrated. Or at least a lot of Mexican places have horrible tortillas. But like there's a few rare. And even then, while I like tacos, I don't go looking for tacos. Usually I prefer like a burger or some pizza. Wings, to me, wings are goated. Sorry if I went on a big tyrant on that. But I always hate this notion of you're not this, you're not that enough, so you're not accepted in our communities. I also find this very stereotypical. A lot of Latinos get mad when white people wear sombreros and panchos and go out celebrating Cinco de Mayo. But the minute a Hispanic doesn't speak Spanish, you start saying they're not Hispanic enough. And I think that's annoying because now you're going based on all the stereotypes. Now, me personally, I am disappointed when Hispanics don't know Spanish. I feel like it is a major part of our culture, and I feel like you should be able to understand the language. But I think Hispanics in America are also kind of becoming like Italians. You have to remember Italians. A lot of modern Italians don't know Italian. Every Italian I've met in my life does not speak Italian, funny enough. I'm not even joking. Even here on YouTube, I've met Italians who don't speak Italian. And that's all right because they've come from generations of they originally Italian, now they're here, and they've had generations where you've adapted to American culture, and now you feel far more American. I think the same is going to happen with a lot of Latinos. A lot of Latinos, you're going to adapt, you're going to come, and English, like for example, my kids are not going to know as good Spanish as I am unless I marry like an immigrant. But like if I don't marry an immigrant, my kids were probably not going to know Spanish as well. But I will make an effort to teach my kids Spanish because I do think, first of all, my mom hardly understands English, so I think it's just good for them to know that. But even then, I don't think you should just tell someone, oh, you need to do this, or you're not a part of that. And I think you see this a lot with minority groups. I see this a lot with black people. I see this a lot with Asian people. If you don't act like the status quo of that race, you often get treated lesser by that community. Like you're almost told like you're not this enough. Like I remember I had this black friend. His name was Clarence. Yeah, I know everyone's gonna be like white name, but like back in 10th grade, I remember a lot of the other black kids, even though he was black, he was obviously black, a lot of the others would be like, oh, you act too white. And yeah, he did act stereotypically white, but like, who cares? You're still that race, And I think it's shitty when minority groups like ourselves, because you don't see this a lot with white people. White people aren't like, you're not white enough. It's just kind of like, oh, you're white. Welcome Haywood, welcome Grant, whatever your fucking white name is. It's like, and I think that's annoying. And I think especially with Latino communities, we're a minority here in America. I feel like we should be able to just welcome everyone, because I think everyone should be proud of who they are, right? It's why I don't like online nowadays. Like if you go online, it's always like people like shitting on white people all the time. And I gets annoying because I'm like, that's racism right there. That is racism. And if you want to end racism, you end all racism, and I don't know, it just annoyed me that Rachel Ziegler got shitted on. And I was looking at all the comments. There was a lot of people being like, oh, you can't speak Spanish. You should be ashamed. Well, the shame shouldn't come to her. Or I don't know if Rachel speaks Spanish, but it should go to the parents. But even then, who cares? Just be in tune with your culture. Who cares? You're Latino. Welcome. And that's it. And it really devastates me that we have to go with this whole BS of, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. I mean, I'll say some things about me. While I eat spicy, I don't love spicy all that much. Like there's a limit to me. Sometimes I'll go to like Mexico and they're like eating salsa on their tacos or whatever. And I'll be like, man, that's too spicy. I ain't eating that. Coke. I'm not a big Coke guy. I know Mexicans love their Coca-Cola, but I genuinely try to avoid Coke as much as I can, even though it tastes good. I just don't get this notion of drinking it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That happens a lot in Mexico. Coke in Mexico is exactly like coffee here in America, And another thing is, I don't really listen to a lot of Spanish music. If you go through my entire playlist, it's a lot of 80s rock. I love Guns N' Roses, Led Zeppelin, and even sometimes you see some rap in there. Like I like to listen to some Tupac occasionally, J. Cole, Biggie Smalls, Eminem. I have mainly that. There's a couple of Spanish songs, but very little. So you could also make the argument with me. But then again, who cares, And even then, like you have no argument with me because I speak really good Spanish. I'm in tune with my culture. And not only that, but I come from an area that comes not just Mexicans, but a lot of Central Americans. I've met Hondurans. I met people from Panama, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, right? So I feel like I also got a good basis of a lot of Hispanic culture, because a lot of Hispanics will like grow up with, like, especially if you live in like Mexico or Salvador or whatever, like you'll only grow up with that specific type of Hispanics, because Hispanic cultures can be very different. Dominicans are different from Colombians. Colombians are different from Ecuadorians, although we all have very similar things. And even when you come here, usually you're just called Mexican. That's a funny thing. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like when in our groups, let's just be happy with who we are, accept ourselves, and who cares? Even if you're not Latina enough, who fucking cares? The world's still going to revolve. No one cares. It doesn't change anything. She's Hispanic. She's welcoming other Hispanics. And I think the shitty part is when people within your community tell you you're not that enough. Like, and this happens with nerd fandoms too. I see this a lot with Star Wars fans. Oh, you like The Last Jedi? That means you're not a real Star Wars fan. Oh my God, you like She-Hulk? That means you're not a real Marvel Comics guy. Oh my God, you love James Gunn's Suicide Squad? That means you're not a real Snyder fan. It's like, who fucking cares, bro? Who cares, man? If this really upsets you, go have sex. I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Also, oh, that's cool. I just saw the little light right there. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll see you all in the next one. Ciao.
We did it! We did it! We did it! We did it! No!